Welcome back. Today we're going to be preserving a puzzle that my grandpa did. This is kind of like a step-by-step guide if you have a puzzle that you want to preserve. There's many ways to do it. This is just one of the ways that I did. I'll kind of explain a different way throughout the video. This is the puzzle that I'm going to be doing. This is a Christmas one, so I want to get done before Christmas. And there's also another one of both my grandparents swinging on the swing. So we're just taking it out. This is the puzzle that he put together. That's why it's bagged up like that, because he's the one that put that together. We're just kind of taking it apart. We got Mod Podge. That's going to be the first step. You're going to want to lay the Mod Podge on the wood that you're going to put underneath, and then you put Mod Podge over top. You can also do clear glue as well. You can put epoxy over top after that. It seals, but I'm going to try plexiglass instead. So that's the other puzzle, like I said, that we're going to be doing as well. Now I'm just measuring up, just make sure I got my frame for the bottom piece, the 1/4 inch plywood, so I can put that on top of it. So I'm going to measure to make sure I have the right depth. I'm going to go a little bit over, that way I have a little bit overhang so I can square everything up at the end. So now you're just seeing me cut the plywood right now, or to its final length and width. We're just going to use the crosscut so it's quick to get the width cut, and then after that we will have it ready to put Mod Podge and get the puzzle pretty much going. So I lay it down, got to make sure everything's basically right. Obviously, like I said, I have a little bit of overhang, but I also want to cut it down to make sure I have a good 90-degree angle to be able to put the puzzle piece on. You grab your gloves, can get kind of messy. I prefer to spread it with my gloves. That's why I have gloves on. I'm going to use the non-show side to put the puzzle on, and we're just going to slide the puzzle on. This can be a little bit tricky, but we're going to throw the Mod Podge on, kind of wipe it on. You're going to want a little bit amount. You don't want too much to where it squeezes up, but you want to have a good amount to be able to kind of keep the puzzle down and glued down in place. So I'm just spreading that on now. This might be a little too much, I'm not going to lie. But after that's done, we're going to put the puzzle on. This could be a tricky part. You just want to make sure you slide it on. It could be done by yourself. You just got to make sure you have something to be able to hold on to, like that whiteboard. That is a nice thing to have, to be able to kind of slide that onto. Now we're just kind of putting it into place, and now we're going to put Mod Podge over top, and we're going to layer that on. Again, you don't want to go too heavy. I went a little too heavy, and I learned the hard way, but it's going to look fine. We just want to basically layer it on. That's, like I said, too heavy. I mean, if I did that heavy, I probably could have wiped it off, but that's what it's going to look like. I probably should have wiped it off. At the end of the day, now we're going to square these up. I'm squaring both these puzzles up just on the table saw with the crosscut sled. It's nothing too extravagant. Squaring them up and getting them ready for their frames. Now, like I mentioned, you can go with epoxy over top. I actually decided to go with plexiglass over top to kind of give it a different look. You don't have to, but you can. I'm just measuring that plexiglass up right now because I'm going to basically have the same thing. I'm going to do a dado to put those in with a 45-degree frame. So I'm just kind of getting that ready for the plexiglass. I'm going to cut that down to its final dimensions and get that ready for the frame. Now for the frame, I'm going to be using cherry wood. It came out alright. Almost prefer walnut just to have enough walnut stock. I have a bunch of cherry, so I'm just going to use some cherry. For that, it's just going to be natural. It's not going to be anything stained. I probably could have stained it darker, but now make sure when you're doing this, change the dado blade out. I'm going to make sure I unplug the saw, and I'm going to change it to a dado blade. That way I can get that groove for the frame. If you don't know how to change the dado blade out or change it to a dado blade, there's plenty of videos out there on YouTube to check out. Now that we got the dado blade in, we're going to line up to where I want it to line up on the cherry board frame. And I'm just going to run it through the saw and get that lined up and get that cut for the dado. Don't have to be in a big rush, but nice and slow does it. So now that we got the frame, we're going to test fit it, and it fits just the way I want it. So I'm going to cut all the rest of the sides up. Now I'm just getting the lengths lined up and measured to be able to find out what I want for lengths for the sides. I cut those off camera. The 45 is pretty simple. Now I'm just kind of getting the plexiglass cover off and dry fitting these, then putting it together with glue right here. You can get away with just gluing it up like this. I went ahead and put a spline in there, and you'll see that in a little bit, but I just want to put a spline in there. It does help the strength of the frames itself. And then a little bit more glue up action, and then we will show you the spline jig. These are the puzzles in the frame itself while it's gluing up. Got both of them right here. And then we're going to disassemble them a day after I let them sit in there today. I don't have the tension on too much. I just want to be able to get a nice glue up. So I'm going to release the tension, get everything kind of set, make sure everything's set well, and make sure the joints are a little bit strong so they're not wobbly. Can happen. And then I'm going to put them through the spline jig. Plenty of videos out there how to make one. I just kind of threw one together in 5 minutes, so it's not the best. I'm going to end up making a new one, but I'm going to go ahead and put splines in there on all four corners on both puzzles. You can see there what it looks like. And then I'm going to cut out of walnut some splines to put into the spline holes. Here's the walnut. I'm cutting that up. Then, after they're glued up, I went ahead with a saw and cut those splines off and made sure they were flush. Now, you don't have to make sure they're flush. I can sand those down with the hand sand. I'm going to go with 180 grit, or excuse me, 120 grit, then 180, then 220. 180 is on, or 120 is on the sander right now. Run through the grits like usual. No one wants to see sanding, so that's about all you're going to see right here. And this is the end product. I put a little bit of profile with my router on the edges right there, you can see. And I think it came out all right. My 40 vise could be better, but working in a time crunch, I think it worked out pretty well. So if you're looking to do this and preserve a puzzle, this is a great way to do it. If you have any questions and you want to know more, comment below.